A horror movie centered around a young man with autism is set to debut at Movies 10 in Brighton this week. Sam Carter has a first look at the film, and he talks with the filmmaker behind it this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Today, we're going to be featuring someone who I think is an incredible person and an accomplished filmmaker. Right now, I'm joined at Animated Studios by Adrian Esposito, director, writer, actor. This guy does everything. Adrian, you got a new project. Tell me all about it.
Yes, the new project is called Clowns in the Woods, and it is about a young man with a disability, Marcus, who is bullied in a small-town community for having a disability. And one day when a prank goes wrong, he seeks the help from these ghost clowns in the spirit world in the woods who help him enact revenge on those who have wronged him.
You've dealt with disabilities your whole life, isn't that right?
Yes, I have autism, also known as Asperger's syndrome. Actually, at my level, it's Asperger's syndrome. And I think some of the issues I had to deal with in the past is dealing with hardships in special ed schools, sure, and neighborhood bullies in the school, in my neighborhood, I should say, not school, but mostly in my neighborhood.
So the plot of this movie does come from personal experience then?
Yeah, a lot of my movies, like, well, the other narrative film I did, Bury My Heart with Tonawanda, and this one, Clowns in the Woods, they come from personal experiences and other things I've learned throughout the years from other movies and life experiences, so I would say that.
Absolutely, guys. And everyone can get a chance to come see Adrian's movie. It's 8 o'clock, Movies 10 on Thursday. Buy tickets at the door. I just watched the trailer. It's really, really cool. I'll link the trailer in my Twitter, 13 Wham Sam. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be really great. Let's get back to you guys in the studios. Adrian's going to teach me a little bit about filmmaking.
All right, Sam.
A horror movie centered around a young man with autism is set to debut at Movies 10 in Brighton this week. Sam Carter has a first look at the movie and talks with the filmmaker behind the scenes.
Back here at Animated Studio, joined again by Adrian Esposito, the filmmaker who has a new film. Remind everybody the name of it.
Clowns in the Woods.
Clowns in the Woods, but that's not your only film, is it?
Nope, it is not.
You've made 9 other movies, some of them award-winning movies. Talk to me about where the inspiration to make films came from.
Well, I would say the inspiration came at a young age. When I was real young, I was a big fan of the original Nutty Professor with Jerry Lewis. And also, as the years went by, I really liked George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. And then after I saw that and a few other films, I said, this is what I want to do for a career as a hobby, is make movies. And I started out doing documentaries. Oh, cool. And I would say that was a little easier than what I'm doing now, but
you've moved up. You've gotten better. Now, I want to talk to someone who is integral in this, the executive director, Adrian's mom, Christina. Talk to me a little bit about your role in all of this.
Well, when Adrian was little, of course, same story. People didn't have too much hope, and they said he's going to wind up in a group home or institution. But I saw that he was very interested in movies, and he started to write short stories or dictate them to me. So I took it upon myself to buy books and things about movies, and he learned how to read that way. And I wanted to support his efforts 100%.
Absolutely. How proud are you of your son?
I'm very proud of him.
Absolutely.
I'm very proud of him. But I also want to say that this film features Adrian's talents, but we also have the talents of 3 other people on the autism spectrum who have lead roles in this film.
That's terrific.
And an individual who has Down syndrome who also plays the lead.
He's the lead. He's one of the leads.
He's one of the
film.
leads.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is something that Adrian has stressed in his film, Disability Hollywood, the fact that people with disabilities get lead roles.
Absolutely. It's really, inclusion is so important. And you can actually go see Adrian's movie Thursday at 8 at Movies 10. Tickets bought at the door. I just watched the trailer. It's great. I'm going to link it in my social media at 13 Wham Sam. Check me out. Until then, let's go back to you guys in the studio.
Wow.
I love it. So good.
Oh, that's good. We're going to check that out. Thank you, Sam.
Back here at Animated Studio with my filmmaker guys here. We got Mike Boas on my right. We got Adrian Esposito on my left. Adrian, we're watching just a small snippet of the film right now. We watched the trailer earlier. It all looks really, really cool. But you've had a relationship with Mike for a bunch of years now. Talk to me about what that relationship is like.
It's been very much of a friendship. We started out just pupil and student around 2006, 2005, and it's really just blossomed into something very nice and, you know, very memorable, I would say.
Yeah.
So we've come a long way, and I hope we continue to go even further.
Mike, talk to me a little bit about, now you've been with Adrian for a number of years, almost more than a dozen years.
Yeah.
What's that experience been like for you?
Oh, it's been really interesting watching him grow. You know, I started with him because he came to our animation workshops at Animated Studio. We teach animation primarily through the workshops.
Sure.
But you know, as someone who needed more independent help, and maybe not in animation, more in documentary filmmaking, which he was getting into. You know, I came on through a program that his mother arranged through New York, and you know, so I'd work with him, editing in Premiere, shooting stuff, taking stories of his grandmother and other Holocaust survivors,
Yeah, totally.
and that was his first documentary about aging trees of knowledge.
Now, he's made 10 films, some of them narrative films, some of them documentaries.
Yep.
How many of those have you helped with?
Oh, she's about 10 films.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's been, I think, 8 documentaries and 2 narrative. So they really cover the gamut from, you know, all sorts of different... lots of times there's people that are sort of being shoved to the side or have withstood hardships. So those with disabilities, those with sometimes native peoples who...
there feels like a lot of social commentary on this for things that Adrian has lived through. And guys, you can watch some of this on Thursday night. 8 p.m., Movies 10, buy tickets at the door, Clowns in the Woods. It's genuinely creepy if you watch the trailer. I'll link it in my social media, at 13WhamSam. I can't believe the quality of it. I really can't. It's really, really terrific, guys.
All right, Sam, thank you. Looking forward to that.
A horror movie centered around a young man with autism is set to debut at Movies 10 this week. Sam Carter has a first look at the movie this morning as he caught up with the filmmaker behind it.
Back here at Animated Studios, we're really celebrating the release of Clowns in the Woods today, and you really can't have a movie without props. And I'm back here with Mike Boas. Mike, you wear a lot of hats here.
I do.
How many of these did you guys actually make in-house?
How many props?
Yeah, of the percentage of the props.
Well, we probably about 70% of things that we would I would do with Adrian or we would do together, and then there were some things that I worked with. Tom Gleason was our visual effects guy, or special effects guy, I should say, and R.J. Young was another special effects person. So some of these modified Halloween props were of Tom's, and then some of these things were things we had to make.
I was going to say, because a lot of this has a kind of a Ghostbustery, homegrown kind of feel to it. And if you're a movie fan, you know what that reference means. But it does have kind of a homegrown feel to it. How much work went into making all of this stuff?
Well, it's a lot of work. You're trying to do things on a budget. You're trying to say, okay, this is not a big budget movie.
Sure.
What can we do to sell the idea? And we're inspired by movies that Lloyd Kaufman of Troma would make.
Nice.
Very, very, very sort of, all right, what can I get at the grocery store?
Yeah.
So if you're making blood, you might use Caro syrup or chocolate syrup. And here's a bucket of blood right here.
Well, chocolate syrup for years, during black and white, a lot of people might not know this, but chocolate syrup during black and white films was the go-to for blood.
That's what they would use in Psycho.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
And then the mixture of Caro syrup and red
food
dye.
coloring, and there's a special formula, the Dick Smith formula. You can look it up on the internet. He has some chemicals that you might use. You might not have to substitute, but it works out well.
No, it's really, really cool. I'm just getting a chance to look at it. I want to talk to you about this book,
Sure.
the Esposito Circus book, as you called it earlier, kind of the Necrocomicon.
Yeah, the Necronomicon
Nomicon, not
of the book.
Necrocomicon.
Yeah.
That's where nerds go to. But it is really cool. Talk to me about what went into kind of to kind of making this?
Well, we knew that the character in the book, character in the movie rather, finds this book, and it's sort of a haunted book that the clowns use to bring about their powers, to revenge, have revenge on people. So we had to make something that looked like it had been sitting around for maybe 50 years.
Terrifying.
So the idea is that it was made in 1947, maybe something, and we have artwork from Adrian's dad.
Oh, cool.
We have some artwork from Adrian in here. There's some artwork from me. Let's see here.
Well, I could see one of the concepts is right here.
Stuff. Yeah, so I would draw this out. I'm an animator, and I would draw these scary clowns, and through Photoshop and through some stock photography and everything, we construct a book, and you have to build that as a prop, and we have to build multiples of them, because as you can see, one of them gets burned.
One of you, indeed.
So I wanted
spoilers, but one of them does get burned.
Yeah, and I wanted to have a hero one that wouldn't get burned, so I had two that could get burned, and you always got to have a second one just in case.
Now, the process of doing this. Now, you've worked on most of Adrian's films.
Sure.
The process for his narrative films, making stuff like this, doing stuff like this. How much time? Give somebody a sense of how much time you're dedicating to this over the course of a film.
Well, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of love. Yeah, you end up doing a lot of extra things you didn't think you'd have to do. I learned to sew many years ago, but I got a secondhand sewing machine for my mother-in-law.
Awesome.
And so I helped make the tent. We had to have a circus tent. So that hadn't been done. So that was something that I didn't think I was going to do.
A lot goes into it, guys. I'm gonna wear a prop right now, real quick. Did I do that right?
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
How'd I look? How'd I look? And don't worry about it, guys. And Alexis, you can't see me. All right? You can't see me, Alexis. We'll go back to you guys in the studio while I get this adjusted, all right? This is really cool.
Well played, Sam. Wow, that is quite a setup. We'll have to check out the movie.